Okay. No, let change it. So just like we did in our last class that we okay, can you turn it on now? Thank you. We did some in-depth examples, right? I showed us how all of the basic things that we've learned in JavaScript works, right? What did we do? We did variables, data types, who can help me with the rest? Conditionals, what else? Operators, then functions, for loops, loops in general. We're not here on did loops. But now, one thing about loops is that one thing loops does for you is that it helps you. So basically, what it does is that it helps you reduce repetitiveness, or let me use repetition. Helps you reduce repetition. Because how everybody is listening, it helps you reduce what repetition. So for instance, let's say you have let's a equals to 10, let's say equals to 1. Now, what will I do if I want to print out a 1 to 5? I can say let b equals to what? 2. Then the same thing, let c equals what? 3. Then we're going to have let d equals what? 4. No, let's just do 4. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to do console.log. Then we're going to have a. Then similarly, we're also going to have the same thing, console.log b, c, and what? D. Now, if you go live now and then you check it out in your console, what are you going to have? You should be able to have, so let's check it out. Inspect. Now, you're not going to have every single thing printed out on 4 lines. But now there's a problem here. Problem now is that you want to print out 1 to 4, right? But you're having to do them one after the other, isn't it? Now, this is repetition. This is going to like take a lot of time. That's one. This is not going to be as effective as doing things like as just looping through something once and then getting the answer multiple times. Do you understand now? So for instance, this is what loops tends to end, repetition in codes. So now for me to do this now, I can do the same thing by just using loops. So I can use, again, I told us that we have different type of loops. You have your for loop, and then you have your what? You have your while loop. You understand? Then you also have your what? Your do while loop, which I said you should go ahead and read on. How many of us did while loop and do while loop? Huh? You did while loop, right? Did you okay? Did you do while, but you didn't read while loop? How did you do what? How did you do while without reading while loop? Talk about while loop. See? Yeah, and okay. All right. So now let us continue and let's talk about so let me look for some of my examples that I wrote down here. Okay, good. Let's talk about for loop, right? So when we talk about for loop, right? Let me just give you the same logic, but with loops, by looping through things. Now, if I want to do the same thing here, I can say, okay, for using my for keyword, then I can say let I equals to what? Where is I equals to what? 1. Why? Because I want to print from 1 to what? 4. Then I can go ahead and say, okay, I will now be less than or equals to what? 4, right? Because we want it to be what? 4. 5, 4, right? Then we can increment I. So as long as it is like this, we'll continue to what? Get I. Now, if you console.log I, what are you going to have now? You're not going to have what? 1 to 4. But now, as you can see, you have the same thing, but in this case, we just wrote what? Just 3 lines of code. You understand? As opposed to this 9 lines of code before. Reduced what? Repetition. That is one thing for loop is going to do for you. So what did it do here? We initialized I to 1. Then we said I should be less than or equals to 4. Since I is 1, right? Is 1 less than or equals to 4? That means if you now do I plus 4, it's going to check. 1 is less than or equals to 4, correct? 2 is less than or equals to 4, correct? 3 is less than or equals to 4, correct? 4 is less than or equals to 4, correct? Then if I'm going to check the number, which is 5, once you see that 5 is greater than 4, what happens? It stops. That is why it breaks. Now, I told you that in our last class that when you use for loop, you use for loop when you know the amount of repetition or iterations you want for the loop. So when you know the amount of repetitions or iterations, you can use for loop. Now, what do I mean? For instance, I want to how do I put it? I want to again print out how many numbers? 4. I know that this iteration is going to be 4, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to do what? Keep going until that particular amount of iterations goes. But now imagine when you want to play games. A lot of us again, you play football, right? Now, if you notice, you can play any amount of matches that you want. That is actually a loop because it is not stopping. But you do not know, technically, your computer does not know the amount of games you want to play. Do you get it now? That is a while loop. So a while loop is used when you don't know the amount of iterations or you don't know the amount of loops you want to get. But when it comes to what, knowing the amount of iterations or the amount of, let's just use that word, iterations that you want to have, then you can go ahead and use a word, a for loop. Now that's the different major difference between a while loop and a for loop. Again, for loop when you know the amount of iterations, while loop when you do not know the amount of iterations. You just want to go ahead and what, write a particular loop. For instance, let us take another example in the while loop. A user comes to your website writing passwords. They can write how many passwords? Up to 10 times, meaning that what? If that password is not correct, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Do you get it now? So it doesn't matter if they write it 20 times. You don't know the amount of times the user is going to write it, do you? No. That's also what? While loop, you don't know. Because they can write it 20 times, the correct password. Until they get the correct password, the loop keeps running.
Chance.
Yeah.
So see for
Limited chance. Yes, we can use for that's but those ones are actually technically those ones are not actually loops. Let me show you, let me explain the real loops for you. How many of us played bounce on that Nokia phone back then? Now, if you notice bounce, right, you can have infinite amount of score until what happens? Until you fail. That is while loop. Why? You technically you don't know, you might not know your high score. Similarly, there's a snake game that time. It's the same thing. It's a loop. It keeps running because why? You don't know the amount of, except you now have like a defined high score. Oh, 100. So for instance, there is this Nokia soccer game that we used to play back then that it just ticks. Just going. Once it reaches, it counts from 1 to 90. Once it reaches 90, that's the end. If you score 1-0, that's your log. 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. And that is a what? That is a for loop. Why? You know that this thing runs for 90 seconds, so it's expecting you to make your move in that 90 seconds. Or what? Do whatever it is you want to do in 90 seconds. Do you get it now? Now, that is one thing about your for loop and while loop, the differences. Now, moving on. Let us now have something like conditionals in for loop. Let's say you want to print out even numbers. I'm revisiting for loop again because of people that are not here in the last class. Okay, it's not yet. So that is one thing about for loop. Your for loop basically talks about iterations that you know. Let us try to print out numbers, even numbers between 1 and 10. Now, how do we print out even numbers between 1 and 10? Now, what are even numbers? First of all, let me ask us, what are even numbers? 2, 4, 6, but there's a definition. Now, any number that is divisible by 2 is an even number. Do you get it now? Now, that means you need to first of all think about it. If I want to print out even numbers between 2 and 10, that means I need to be able to make sure that those numbers are divisible by what? 2. Now, if you can divide something by 2, will it give you, what remainder will it give to you? How do you get a remainder of something? Modulo, very good. Now, you write your loop. I can say for I, right, equals to what? 1, because we want to print out between 1 and what? 1 and 10. For I equals to I. So we cannot say what? I has to be what? Less than or equals to what? 10. Do you understand why? Because we are printing between 1 and what? 10. So we can go what? I plus plus. Now, how do we move on to the next phase now? What's the next phase? Why is it a condition? You are correct, but why is it a condition?
when we said the test will have yes.
Yes.
Because we have just made an initialize something. The non-condition.
Now we've initialized I equals to what? 1. We've set a condition saying that okay, this loop will continue running until I is greater until I equals to what? 10. So we said I is less than or equal to what? 10. That means that's the condition. The loop will keep running until what? That's why it's a for loop. You know the defined. Now, I plus plus is going to increment till this condition is what met. Now, we now want to go ahead and what? Write a particular condition. And the condition is going to state that what? I is going to keep printing until what? Now, the condition is going to check to see if the number that is being printed is a what? Even number. Do you get it now? Now, if the number is an even number, what do you want? You want to go ahead and what? Print out I. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, how do you do it? Use your if statement. And how do you do it? So you can say if I modulo 2, right, equals 0. Because of course, the remainder of something that can be divisible by 2 has to be what? 0. So now if the remainder equals 0, what do you want? Console.log what? I. Now, we are only going to print out I when the remainder equals to what? 0. Now, if we go ahead and you check it out, now what do we have? So there is a problem here. And what's the problem? I is not defined. So let us check it out. Good, this is our problem. So we should have let I equals to what? 1. So now if you check it out, what do you have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now, what did you do here? We look through it. Instead of going ahead and start printing it one by one, what happened? We just wrote a loop that automatically what writes that thing for us. So now if you check it out now, that is exactly what we have. So you have a for loop that automatically what prints out. Do you get it now? Now that is one thing about your for loop. Is it clear to everybody? That's basically what your for loop is. So again, your for loop, you use for loops whenever you know the amount of iterations you want to use for that particular loop. Any question so far? All right. So now, moving on to the next example, moving on to the next aspect of this course, we'll be talking about while loop. So let us talk about while loop now. So last week is just a revision. This is what I did, just a revision. So I want to move on to what we want to talk about today. A while loop repeats a block of code as long as what the condition is what is true. Please, I need you to understand something. And it's very, very much important that you understand this. For loops are used when what? You say?
Yeah.
When you know the amount of iterations. Now, while loop are now used whenever what you do not know the amount of iteration. So now, that is why a while loop will now continue to run as long as a particular condition was true. So it doesn't know the amount of iteration. It is just basically talking about the condition. So it's not saying, oh, I want to know if I is greater than 10. But I want to know. It's not really it doesn't really care about that. It cares if that particular condition keeps running or not. For instance, let's use this example that we have here. Let's say you want to have a particular example. So let's say, again, your while loop and your for loop are different. Your for loop, you can define every single thing inside of the for loop. So as you can see the way we defined it. For loop, then I define I inside of my for loop. But in your while loop, it is much more different. So let's say while loop, it is a little bit different. And what's the difference? You declare things outside. I can say let j equals to 1, right? Then I can have my while loop. I can say while j is less than or equal to 10, right? What do you want? I can say console.log j. Now, what are you going to have? What do you think you're going to have here? Okay, let me remove it. Please look at it. Look at it very well. What exactly do you think you're going to have? See now. No, you can tell me now. No, it's not stopping you. What do you think you're going to have here? Just tell me. You can just drop the foot, chew on what you have now, and tell me what you think you're going to have here. Any other person can also go on. I'm waiting for you. once it gets to 10. Why? Because it said j equals to 1, while j is now less than or equals to 10. What do you want? Console of log j. That means what you're not going to have now as your output will now be what? So I'm just going to write output. Okay. So output will now be what? As you can see, 1 to 10. So now if you check it out now, check out this thing. What are you going to have here? You should have 10. Okay, it's giving us an infinite loop. This is a problem that I hate so much. Okay, let's give it. It's giving us an infinite loop. I do not really like infinite loops. One thing about while loop again, as you can see, they are prone to infinite loops. And what are infinite loops? Infinite loops are loops that don't have an end. They just keep running. You understand it now? So now, that's one thing about while loop. Again, as you can see, very prone to what? Infinite loop. Because, and there's one reason. Reason is simply because your while loops are expected to keep running until a particular condition is what? Is false. Now it's already it's making my chromang. So I'm just going to remove this equal to here. I think that should be the problem. So let us try it again. I'm going to stop the spot and then go live again. Then we should check it out now. Okay, let me use another browser. So that's a problem that you often face with loops. So let me stop it. Let me remove this. I do not understand why we're having something like this done. So j equals 7. So output is supposed to print 1 to 9. But I do not know why it is giving us infinite loop. It's not supposed to give us infinite loop at all. Okay, I might have to just close this. Okay, it's back. It's back. Thank God. Thank God it's back. It's back. So now let us try it again. I'll use another example. So that it's not going to crash my system again. Okay, I see you see my example. So let's check it out. What are we gonna have? We should have 1 to 9. So I'm gonna refresh. Okay, I think we go live again. Let's try it. All right, so let's check it again. That's done the same thing. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop this. Let's wait for it to come back. Let's use another example. So let us use an example that counts from 1 to 5 instead. Jesus Christ. Let's use an example that counts from 1 to 5 instead. So now we can have the same thing. It's basically going to be the same steps. So we can have oh, I think I understand the problem. Oh, Jesus. That's very, very, very bad for me. So I'm going to go back. Now, you might be, this is a problem. It's going to run infinitely. Why? Why is it going to run infinitely? There's a reason. Who can tell me? Now, just look at it. Why?
Really, we are saying J to 1.
Yes.
Not saying Y. We're not using Y.
Yes.
Not saying 1. It's less than 1, which is smooth.
It's always going to be less than 10. Do you get it? This is what I'm saying. I said let j equals to 1. And I said while j is less than what? 10. Console log j. Now, I'm saying that while 1 is less than 10, print out what? J. Is 1 not automatically less than 10? That means the condition is going to keep running. It's never going to stop. Why? Because that particular condition is true. Will always be true. Will never be false. So what I can do is that what I can now use a what? Increment value to increment it. So I will now keep increasing it till the value of what j stops being equal to or greater than what? Or stop being equal to or less than 10. So I can now say what? J plus plus, which is this. Do you get it now? So this J plus plus automatically removes that particular count from me. So now I can now add the same thing. I can bring it down here, J plus plus. So now if you check it out now, let's use this one. So I think Chrome has locked me out. Okay, so that's it. I'll go live again and then we'll check it out, see what happens. I'm going to refresh. I hope, okay, it does not crash. So now as you can see, I think we are safe. So let us check out the console to see what we have here. Let's check out. Now, as you can see, what do you have? 1 to 9. While I is less than what G. Now, that's basically what your while is. Now, one thing about your while is that, again, as I said, you do not have to know the amount of iteration. You just need to know that, okay, there is a condition to be met. But for your for loop, condition has to be met. If not, you're not going to have anything. Is that clear to everybody? Now, let us take another example. Then I'm going to give us time to write it down and then move on to the next thing. So let us have let's have something. Let's create a countdown. Now, let's say we want to count down from let's say we want to count down from 5 to 0. You understand? Let's try and create a countdown. So how do we create this count? I think it's back. So let's check it out. It's not still not back yet. So we'll just leave it. Let's try to create a countdown. So let's say countdown. Now, let's create countdown from 10 to 0 to 0. Now, how do we do it? I can say let's first of all initialize the first thing, which is what? Creating your count. Now we are saying that we want to create from where to where? 10 to where? To 0. That means the first thing has to be what? Initialize your count to 10. Do you get it now? Now you can now have your while loop that says what? While your count is now is 10 greater than while your count is greater than 0. Now, why is it like that? Because you want to count down from what? 10 to what? 0. So what you want is that while count is greater than 0. What do you want? Keep incrementing your count or keep decrementing your count. Now, 10 is greater than 9, right? Sorry, while count is greater than 0. 9 is greater than 0, right? It will print it out. 8 is greater than 0, right? It will print it. 10 is greater than 0, right? It will print it. Now it's going to keep counting down till it gets to what? 0. Now, when you finally find out that what 0 is not bigger than what? 1, it stops. Or -1 is not bigger than 0, automatically stops. So we cannot have the same thing. We're going to say while count is what? Greater than 0, right? Now, what exactly do we want? What we want is that we want to have what? Console.log count. And then what we want to have what? Count plus plus. Count minus minus rather. To decrement count. Now, what is going to happen now? It is going to count from, okay, this is going to stop at 1. It's going to stop at 1 because 1 is just going to check out for the last one, which is 1. So let's say while count is greater than or equals to 0. So when it gets to 0, it will check is 0 equals to 0. If that condition is true, it goes ahead to bring it out. Then it moves on to the next one. Is 0 greater than -1, which is false? That means at that point, what happens? That condition is becoming what? False. It's not going to work again. So we're going to go ahead and what? Check. Okay, sorry, I can't use here. We're going to go ahead and what? Check it out now. So what do we have? We should have infinite loop and this thing is 5 and 6. So let's check. Good. Let's check it out now. So let's have inspect and let's check out our console. So as you can see, countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Do you understand it now? To prevent your infinite loop, make sure that you do not print out anything to the console unless you have what? Declared your what? Your increment or your decrement. Because the reason why I'm having infinite loop on this one and that my browser has totally crashed is because why? I did not define certain increment and decrement first. I just printed it to console. It's gonna have infinite loop. And infinite loop can crash your system. Probably not spoil it, probably still spoil it, depending on the type of this that you're running. So you have to be very, very careful. Infinite loop can crash. I think it was in last quote, it was here when my system automatically just stopped. I had to restart it. Wasn't this one, but I had to restart it. So that was one thing about what your infinite loop. It can 100% crash your system. So one thing that you want to do is that you have to be very, very careful with how you write your loops. Now, this is basically what we have in your while loop. Do you understand it? Let's to everybody. Okay, so let us go ahead and take this down. Then the next thing that we'll be talking about, we're talking about some more interesting examples in while loop, and then we'll move on to template literals. And I'll also explain asynchronous programming to us. Yes, there's a portal, but I think they've not created any details. Maybe until next Monday.
Really did this one last.
Yes.